You can't open it, Mommy. I mean it. My daughter Daisy, who was 7 years old, shouted with a serious expression on her face. It was a side of her that I had never seen before, and I was taken aback by her sudden sternness. What's wrong, Daisy? That package is for me. Let go of it. No! She pushed me away from the package. It seemed to be a gift, but the sender was unknown, so we needed to check the contents and express our gratitude. Daisy, what's wrong? I need to see what's inside. It may be from Grandma, and we need to thank her for the gift. Reluctantly, I conveyed the message, and Daisy's expression became complex. After pondering for a while, she looked at me and said clearly, Then, let's call Mr. Taylor from across the street. It's okay if we open it with the police officer. What? It's coming along quite nicely. I wiped the sweat from my forehead after finishing tidying up my room. It was tough, but I didn't mind it. If it was for the sake of her second child, who was about to be born. My name is Beth, a 35-year-old housewife. Our family consists of my husband Tony, daughter Daisy, and me. Tony, who works for a top company, tries to take care of our family despite being busy with work. Daisy is a gentle and calm child, and is often praised by neighbors and from mom friends for looking after younger children and stopping fights. But Daisy has a strange side, such as staring at empty places or purposely taking detours when going out and saying, This place is scary. Other than that, she is a perfectly normal and healthy daughter. I'm currently a housewife supporting my family, and I'm happy that we will soon be welcoming our second child. Every day is enjoyable, and there are no worries in our household. One day, while holding my belly and going down the stairs, I saw a figure outside the door and let out a sigh upon recognizing the silhouette. Beth, are you here? Yes, I'm coming. My recent worry has been my mother-in-law. She was born into a wealthy family and spoils her only son Tony. When we moved into our new home, she purposely moved nearby. Since then, she comes to our house almost every day, attacking me with criticism and leaving. When I welcomed my mother-in-law into the room, she, as usual, clicked her tongue in the living room. This room is messy as always. These are Daisy's toys, right? As a mother, you should make her clean up immediately. Oh, but I promised Daisy that she will clean up by herself when she gets home. What kind of tone is that? This is why ordinary people are not good. They don't know manners. Your words are much more ill-mannered. Of course, I couldn't say that, and made tea in silence. My mother-in-law wanted Tony to marry a woman from a similar background, and who believed that women should bear male children and take care of the house. So her treatment towards me was harsh. I wish my mother-in-law's attitude were different, so we could have a more enjoyable life. That night, when I told Tony about my mother-in-law, he frowned his eyebrows and got angry. My mom's still saying that sort of thing. Okay, I'll talk to her. But it's okay. Our life together is more important to me. The next day, Tony went to his mother's house and talked to her. He thought that if he spoke to his mother, her harassment would decrease. I was really grateful to have a good partner like Tony. But at that moment, I didn't notice it. I saw my daughter looking at Tony with an anxious expression. A few days later, a package arrived. I received the box from the delivery man, wondering who it was from and what was inside. It was light for its size, and I had no idea what was in it. Just as I was about to put it on the living room table and open it, Daisy came flying in. "Mommy, wait!" "Huh? What?" Daisy took the box and ran into the toilet with it. She locked the door, and I couldn't open it from the outside. Not understanding what my daughter was doing, I knocked on the door. "Daisy? That's the package, maybe from your grandma. Can you give it back?" As I was about to knock again, Daisy came out. She held the box as if she didn't want to give it to me and frowned. Then she ran out. She went to the dumpster. "Wait, Daisy! What are you doing?" Once Daisy confirmed that the box was placed there, I grabbed Daisy's arm. "Hey, what's going on?" "I won't be angry, so tell me, what was in the box?" "Mommy, you absolutely can't see it," Daisy yelled at the garbage bin with a stern look on her face. But I was confused because I didn't understand why she was acting that way. "Daisy, just give me the box already." Daisy must have a reason for saying this. But since it's a gift, we have to check the contents and thank the person properly. But I'm sure Daisy won't back down easily. "How can you show me? It may be from Grandma, and we need to thank her for the gift." Reluctantly, Daisy made a complicated expression and then told me clearly after a moment of hesitation. "Then call Mr. Taylor from across the street. It's okay if we open it with the police." Daisy fell silent after saying that. Reluctantly, I went to Mr. Taylor's house and explained the situation. Mr. Taylor kindly agreed to help and opened the box together with us. Daisy still looked nervous. As soon as Mr. Taylor opened the box and saw the contents, we froze. "What the?" As soon as I saw the contents of the box, I almost collapsed. It was filled with the brim with cars. All of the cars was stained with reddish black dirt. No, it wasn't dirt. It was blood. As I looked closer, I could see words written on the cards. Each one of them was a message wishing for the unborn child's misfortune. I understand the meaning of the words, but my mind is refusing to comprehend it. Linking the scene in front of me with memories I don't want to remember. My breathing became shallow and everything went dark. I lost consciousness. Later on, Mr. Taylor and Daisy carried me back home. The box and its contents were checked by the police. It turned out that those red black letters were written in fish blood. Mr. Taylor suggested that we file a report, so I think the culprit will eventually be caught. But the emotional scars will take some time to heal. I lay on my bed and thought back to the past. When I was in junior high, someone put a bunch of death threats letter on my desk. I didn't know the reason why. Maybe it was just my turn to be excluded from the group, like other classmates before me. But that was enough to break my young heart. I couldn't bring myself to go to school after that day, and I became afraid of looking at letters written in red ink that talked about misfortunes. "Hey, Beth, are you okay? Can you eat?" Yeah. Thank you, honey." My husband brought tea and cookies to the bed. "I'm sorry. I'm sure it was my mother who did this." "But we don't know for sure if it was your mother." "Who else could have done it?" I went to complain to her, but she just brushed us off. However, I had a feeling that my mother-in-law wasn't the culprit. Although she had always been hostile to me, I didn't think she would go to such length. Besides, the way the person targeted my trauma seemed too accurate. Only my immediate family and Tawny knew about my past experience in middle school. I had an older sister named Lauren, but we hadn't kept in touch for a long time. Lauren was promiscuous and jealous. When I got married, Lauren had shown an obvious desire to take Tawny away from me. Not because she liked him, but because she was attracted to his status and backgrounds. Then I remembered that I had received an email from my childhood friend Hannah about my sister. Hannah was a neighbor, and we hadn't seen each other much since we both became a mother. However, we still kept in touch occasionally. Hannah had been a great support to me when I was being harassed, and we had preached to help each other if needed. I remembered that Hannah had sent me an email about my sister about a month ago. I saw Lauren and your mother-in-law were together. Is everything all right? Maybe my sister told my mother-in-law about my trauma, which I didn't notice at the time, but now I think about it. It is a sophisticated and extreme form of harassment, but my sister is capable of it. Previously, when I and Daisy went back to our parents' house, my sister happened to bring her fiancé. She was bragging about him the whole time. But then, when my daughter saw her, she said, "There are a lot of men on Auntie Lauren's back. It's dangerous." After that, the fiancé investigated my sister's personal life, and our promiscuous relationships were exposed, causing their engagement to be called off. My sister already resented me, but my daughter's worse, she began to hate me even more. For a while, my sister was really terrible, wandering around Daisy's kindergarten, calling the police on us, and making silent phone calls to our house. Of course, our parents were furious, and my sister had to write a written promise never to come near us again. Since then, I had heard that my sister had been working part-time when she went back to my parents' house. Among the men she played with, there were some married men, and the amount of compensation claims was not small. After my condition improved, I contacted Hannah. She was angry about the whole situation, as if it were her own, and she found my sister's Instagram account. As expected, the culprit is your sister Lauren. Look at this. I was about to faint again when she showed me the screen. There were a lot of hidden shots of me and Daisy, that she was specifying the time and place to find our patterns of behavior. After watching for a while, I found that one person was commenting a lot. Could it be your mother-in-law? Huh? While looking through the account from top to bottom, there was a post that confirmed it was my mother-in-law in a photo taken at a cafe. My sister's nail and my mother-in-law's bag were captured together. The caption read "Strategy Meeting" with a heart mark, and it made my blood boil. It is unforgivable to meddle and toy with someone's life like that. Our parents and my sister are planning to come to my father-in-law's memorial service in 2 weeks. I decided to get back to them during that event. As soon as I got home, I told my plan to Tawny, and to my surprise, he readily agreed and even suggested reporting them. With a reliable husband and trustworthy best friend, I'm sure we can overcome this difficult situation. On the day of the memorial service, in addition to our relatives, Hannah and her husband also came. We also invited a few guests that only I knew about. Tawny began his speech as the organizer. "Thank you all for coming today." And Tawny pointed to his mother. "Mom, we are cutting ties with you here." Tawny? What are you talking about?" My mother-in-law appeared visibly flustered. I quickly showed screenshots of social media posts evidence of harassment, recordings, and photos of the bloodied card. Then, as a signal, many men stood up. My sister's face changed as soon as she saw it. They were all people who had been deceived by my sister and couldn't catch her trail. They had given up in tears, but I contacted them and brought up a lawsuit. My mother-in-law and sister sat down with a look of despair on their faces. After seeing this, Daisy muttered, "Grandpa is really angry." And the blonde guy, with the scar under his eye, is really angry too. As soon as my sister heard that, she began to tremble. There was no one who would reach out to the pitfall to. I didn't do anything wrong. I was just dragging into this by the old hag. What are you talking about? I don't even know anything. You did it, didn't you? So? Which one of you sent that box of cards? At that moment, Daisy, who had been silent next to me, pointed her finger and began to speak. It's Dad, right? And Mommy's friend over there. Daisy, what are you saying? Yes, she makes no sense. Children are scary. I almost cried as I saw the two trying to deceive me. I wanted to believe it was all a lie. I didn't want to believe that the two people I trusted the most in the world were conspiring to bring me down. It's okay. I know already. Right, Tony? And Hannah? As a matter of fact, I had received a consultation from Hannah's husband. He had asked me to investigate whether Tony and Hannah were having an affair. I had requested the investigation firm just to calm myself down, even though I couldn't believe it. But the result came out, and until the moment I was shown the evidence of their affair, I still trusted them both. Actually, Daisy also once told me this. Daddy was playing with fish at night. It was really scary. Although at that time, I didn't understand the meaning of the words, she probably witnessed my husband making the blood letter cards. Recently, my daughter seemed to have sensed a sense of unrest from Tony. She said that the baby in my belly told her about it. Tony and Hannah were both pale and fell to their knees. Tony, why did you do something like this? Because both Mom and Lauren were unknowing. And both you and Daisy were in my way. So, I thought if it went well, I could get rid of them all and get compensation. Disgusted with his reasoning, I instinctively slapped Tony. A few years have passed since then. Hey Jordan, it's time for dinner. Daisy brings a spoon to her little brother's mouth, who is now 2 years old. Jordan eats it happily. It's a simple scene, but a happy one. I never could have imagined such a happy scene after that incident happened. Afterward, the perpetrator Tony and Hannah were both cut off from their families. My sister and mother-in-law also suffered terrible fates. My sister was pushed by a passerby and suffered multiple bone fractures and lasting after effects. The suspect was reported to be a person who had a scar under his eye, but there are no other leads. My ex-mother-in-law developed dementia and was placed in a facility where she has nightmares every night. Tony and Hannah eventually broke up, and Hannah is now a reckless, taking out her anger on Tony for not being able to see her child. Tony, on the other hand, had to quit his job due to unexplained physical pain. Despite all this, my family is now living in peace. Daisy seems more relaxed now than when Tony was around. She takes care of her little brother every day and is delighted to have him around. One day, I asked my daughter, "Hey, Daisy, can you still see anything strange?" "What do you mean, Mom?" Daisy tilts her head cutely and then returns to taking care of her baby brother. Her strange ability has disappeared now, but it was something that enabled us to live in peace. Looking at my precious children, I decided to live my life to the fullest without shame.